Hi, everyone. This is a movie that's going to review the last 2 weeks worth of work that we've done and start moving into our week 3 of melody writing. Okay, so what I have up on the screen right now, it says my 4-bar melody, and this is work that we should have done in class the week before vacation. Okay, I hope you're enjoying your vacation right now. All right, up at the top it says decide on the key. My 4-bar melody will be in the key of, and we decided in class that it will be in the key of D major. Now I took this small space here and I had everybody write the scale of the D major key. And if you don't understand that, you can go back and you can watch week 1's video. But the scale, if we wrote it right here using letters in the alphabet, are D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. So we start on the name of the scale, we end on the name of the scale, and we go through the alphabet in the middle. You have to remember to write in the sharps that we talked about. So if you can see, I'm going to move it. If you can see my scale right here, we've written in C sharp and F sharp. Okay, so far so good. The next section that we did last week was writing in the chords. So the name of the chord here, okay, the chord is identified by Roman numerals or Roman numbers. And these numbers right here, if you get confused, you can write them right next to it. This is a 1, this is a 2, you see the 2 little I's, this is a 3, this is a 4, and that's probably the most confusing one because this is a 5. So a V, just like this, a V is a 5. 1 before 5 or 1 in front of the V means 4. So this is a 4, this is a 5, this is a 6. For the same reason that a V is a 5, we're going to have 1 after 5 is a 6, and then right here 2 after 5 is a 7. So the name of the chord is that note in the scale. So we are crossing this out where it says C major, and we're going to write D right here because the first note in the scale is a D. Down here, the second note in the scale is an E. The third note in the scale is an F sharp. The fourth note is a G, A, B, C sharp. All right, so far so good. So we've talked about what the name of the different notes in the scale are. Now, when we build a chord, I talked about this. You have 5 notes in a row on the piano. If I put all 5 fingers down, it's going to make a yucky sound. We don't like that sound. So what we're going to do is we're going to start on the name of the chord. So in this case, it would be D. So you cross these out as well. So we say the first 5 notes of the scale. So we say D, E, F, G, A. Okay, we write all 5 of those down. So I'm going to do it right here on my paper too. I'm going to write D, E, F sharp, G, A. Okay, now if I put all 5 of those notes in my chord, let's see how you can see it. Can you see it now? Sorry, I'm not the best movie maker. D, E, F sharp, G, and A. If I played all 5 of those notes at the same time, they wouldn't sound good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross out every other one. So I'm going to start with D. I'm going to cross out the second note. I'm going to play the third note, F sharp. I'm going to cross out the fourth note, and I'm going to play the A. And that is the name of my, or that is how we spell or write the D major scale. Okay, we continue down the chart for all of the rest of them. Okay, so hang on one second. I'm going to fill it in, and I'm going to show you. Welcome back. I have finished filling in my chord sheet, and this is exactly what you should have done last week. So you'll see that I filled in the name column. So I said D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp. Those are the names of her chords. Over where it says notes, I started on the name of the chord, and I added 5 notes in a row in the scale. So the first one would be D, E, F sharp, G, A. The second one would be E, F sharp, G, A, B, and then F sharp, G, A, B, C, and continuing down. And then you'll notice that I've X'd out the middle two. So out of 5, I've X'd out the second one and the fourth one. So that means we're only going to play every other note, and it's going to make a chord that sounds pleasing. All right. I'm going to take a second and we're going to go to the next page because this was all of last week's work. All right. I'll see you in a minute. Okie doke. Moving on to the next page. The top of the page says my 4-bar melody, and number 3, prepare your score. So in order to prepare our score or our staff, which is the music writing paper that we have 5 lines. We have to add our clef. We have to add our key signature. We have to add our time signature, and we need to mark in the bar lines. Now, a lot of these things have been decided for you. Okay, your clef is going to be different depending on what instrument you play. So higher instruments, so the violins are going to use treble clefs. I'll show you how to draw it in a second. Violas are special. We use alto clef, which is right in the middle. And then basses and cellos are lower sounding instruments, so they're going to use the bass clef. All right, our key signature for everyone is going to be 4/4. All right, so, oh, I'm sorry, I lied. Our key signature for everyone is going to be the key signature for D major, which is an F sharp and a C sharp. And we're going to mark those on these lines depending on which clef we're in. Okay, our time signature is going to be 4/4. Now, normally you can make that up yourself, but just for the sake of this example and this exercise that we're working on, we're all going to use D major. We're all going to use 4/4. Okay, and then it says mark in the bar lines. Well, if we're going to use a 4-bar melody, we need to split this this staff down here, this music writing paper, into 4 equal spaces. So the way I generally do that is I cut it in half, and then I cut each half in half. So I'll be back in a second with a paper so that you can see it. Welcome back. I'm going to show you the part where everybody has the same written part so that you can get your staff set up. So if you look at this, we talked about splitting our music into 4 different equal sections. Okay, so what I first did was I split right down the middle, and then I split each side down the middle. Now, the one thing you will notice is the very first measure looks a little bit tiny, so you could scooch stuff over. That's because we have extra stuff that we have to add at the beginning. Okay, so, but what I did at the beginning that's going to be similar for everyone is a 4/4 time signature. Now, you do have to remember this is not fractions. It looks like fractions, but there is no slash mark dividing the 2 numbers. They're just one above the other. Okay, so now to look at the individual clef and notes, or clef and key signature. Let's do this. Okay, so the very first one that I'm going to show you is the treble clef. Okay, a treble clef is also called a G clef, and that's because if you look over here, it starts on the line where we play G. All right, it circles around, and this is a little bit tricky. It circles around, it keeps coming around like a snail, and then it turns back on itself and comes straight down. All right, you can do your best on that. Try and copy what I have. Take a look at some music that you have in your folder, and do your best with that. Okay, the sharp signs, the F sharp and the C sharp, are marked in the spots where those notes actually would be. So this is the first finger on the E string, and it's going to be on the top. And then this one is 2 fingers on the A string. All right, so let's keep going. The next one that we have here is the alto clef. Okay, alto clef is for violas. All right, alto clef is a little easier to draw. It looks like a 3. I usually put little arrows on the very end. All right, and then the very same thing, we're going to put the F sharp where the F note normally is. That F is 2 fingers on the D string, and then the C sharp where the C would be on the G string. All right, and then our last clef, this is for our basses and our cellos. Sorry, I'm not the best at showing this here. Okay, the C or the bass clef is also called the F clef, and that's because it circles around the note F. All right, so it kind of looks like a backwards C. And we have the F sharp right on the same line that the clef is circling around. And then we have our C down there up in between the second and third lines. Okay, so just you can go ahead and you can take a look at this and get that marked into your staff to get going. All right. Welcome back. And this is the last section of today's lesson. All right, the very last bit that we're going to do is section number 4, where it says harmonic structure, chord progression. Choose an order of chords. You remember those chords that we wrote out on the last page from those available in the key that you have chosen. Now, this is going to be a lot easier than it would normally be if you were writing your own unstructured melody or chord progression, because we only have 4 bars and there are a couple of things that they told you to remember. It says remember to begin with the 1 chord. So if we're writing in the key of D, you're going to write the letter D and the Roman numeral 1. So you're going to write D and Roman numeral. All right. Now it's also going to end with a 1. You'll notice this. It says use the chords 4-1 or 5-1. So you're going to start with a 1, which is a D. You're going to end with a 1, which is a D. And the chord that comes third, so the one that's before the last chord, is either going to be a 4 or a 5. So if you use your chord chart or if you count up through, you'd say D, E, F, G would be a 4 chord. D, E, F, G, A would be a 5 chord. So those are your 2 choices for here. Now you can really pretty much use anything here, but probably you would just use the 1 chord that you hadn't used. So you might use, if you went 4 and then 5 and then ended with a 1, that's fine. Or if you went 5 and then 4 and then ended with a 1. If you want to try something different, you can certainly try something different. Okay. So what it's going to end up looking like is, I'm going to show you mine in a second. I'm going to do 4 and then 5. Okay, and then I'm going to write the names of my chords. So if you count up again, D, E, F, G, your 4 will be a G chord and your 5 will be an A chord. So what it'll look like is this. Okay, there we go. The very last step to that would be to fill in the names of the notes in that chord. So I know the names of the notes in the 1 chord are D, F sharp, and A. So I can write those right in there. Okay. Once you've finished with this page, okay, once you've finished with this page, so you've got it set up here at the top, you've filled out your chords, you've written in the Roman numeral, you've written in the name of the chord, and you've written in the type of the chords. And you've done your clef, you've done your time signature, you've done your key signature. You're going to take a picture of this page and you're going to submit it via Schoology. Okay. I think we're all set for now. If you want to go ahead and start working on the following page, you can, but we'll be doing that in class next week. Thanks. I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the last couple of days of vacation.